Abusia for Afia Rastafarians ne Achimota School ne GES and Sansamono. Afia Schwar nano abetum ene Lydia Forson na and some Afia Schwar can say. Dear Rastafarians no no dear or no more adwin nanso no de no mo nya adwin e wo ho ene sene go about with the issue na we no kan sem be same. I am Minister of Education on hwe nsem ni mu ye na ontu no nansi form onya de adabi no ye de ebe kai no na empo no girl child education ho hia na ho hia so ba ekosu ebe ma no aye neti na ye hwemrofo na omo ntwa muti na so still na no omo brilliant students ewo abrochire Afia Schwar can send bebre yanko na yankotie ne nsam na asa na yebekokora na meka mo se crampak SMS nam jumede ebramo crampak so your babu nsa no ya so yakotobi na fatara ya asna so ho atimi atọ kwan strong koso na ebiem so penudo eto aton dia ene wholesale faction bi okuma se sa number we say 0550708588 yankotie nsama Afia kan ne ba me Lydia Forson dia no ebeto amoso.
Honorable Education Minister, His Excellency Dr. Yao Osei-Chumichiao, a very fine educationist. I know you and I know what you can do. Honorable, as your tenure as the Minister of Education, ye be bitoni and famodin. Honorable, then I make one. I personally don't have anything against the Rastafarians. However, I do not like the way they are handling the events at all. I don't like the way the parents are going about it. And your own person over this school, so I don't want to school. However, Honorable, I'm pleading on behalf of the girl child. You be here say, Honorable, me pacho, ye tin in the DNA youth education and DNA account. GES should look into it. Abrochira na wono. Abrochira call obi me, and they're very brilliant children. Please, our hair as black women is our beauty, is our power. And let's empower the girl child. Oh, it's a year Migusu making. His Excellency President Addo. On a year of return by a homecoming. I buy say Krano. Abrochira for more free citizenship. A good initiative. A bema sikabe krimu. Amaya 10 years, whoever my shower for Ensuenya, a black Americans in no more near day. Now, Mama Cocansem when Abuju Banten. I'm a new offer. At in a matter of Rastafarians about motor school, I'm someone you want. Mr. President, with STR0NG, look into it. Gender Minister, Miss Rowe, a man or you on with you, and Kalana Wabrochen, wine a bar. Obetie ami aware ni tun na nkora nso mo yisa kola no o ma pompa se wu go school na pom mo ma bon a o mo tun hyen titu de ni tisu kakra de aye eti asramo eti ye nje ngosi wa because edru me ne pena so de ne kam no mie no kai ebe mo jasam Afia Schwar ne kotie no ebaaye no so ne no ya adwen na simple ne no nya adwen dia ene comment section ho ho ema na Lydia Forson so training die mu no same Ghana ha so ka bibi say oh yes some we den kese na kweboa asem obi aka ne say oh rules and regulations na Lydia Forson same sa rules and regulations no nipa ene ye enye Nyankopon ene ye ntie nipa ye ne de ye betumi asesa no ye be san so atumi a challenge sa rules and regulations no na nensa mo kan no se be ya GES Ghana Education Service omo for money to form na omo hwe Rastafarian and schools no ensam no mu eye pa wa fa nensam no answer do no akasa ne ho example na empo no o twemu sem sometimes schools ni bi ho abekọ a enam se nipa no ofi abrochire ebaaye ni ntimande ne ti sa akọ school o yesikani ba bi ntimande ne ti sa akọ school empo no senior high schools bi otimi ka se otimi afu na teacher ni the scissors no their tools ni nyina no emwaye and some the Lydia can be ankasa ye beko assign so akotel no so de no ebiem na miguso e kan mo say 21st clinic na so masnam jumede we ebramo omo doctors omo experts in sciatica ntimisraw so penny bi ofi na sciatica yare etet na dia fa number no na 21st clinic for entertain enkomo ye nko ne nkote nsema eye Lydia Forson ade etudwa.
And I was kind of waiting for a while before I had this conversation. I've also not been in the best state to speak on this the way I want to, because it's something I'm extremely passionate about and I advocate for. So I felt it deserved, you know, a lot more attention than I could give it at this moment. But, you know, there's just so many conversations happening online right now that I feel like it's important, you know, to chime in. I also feel like if I don't have this, you know, maybe conversation now, I probably will lose all of my points. I'm a bit all over the place, so forgive me if some of my points are not coherent. Because if you follow me, you know that, you know, I lost a very good friend, so I'm kind of going through it. So if you're new to the topic, for a couple of days now, a student was refused entry into Achimota School because he had, you know, dreadlocks, and, you know, it sparked, you know, a social media uproar and debate, and, you know, it's been going on and on and on. This is not the first time I've spoken on this topic. If you follow me, you know it's something I'm extremely passionate about. People have very strong, you know, opinions about it, and I am very emotional about it. But I would like to approach this with reason, because I feel like when there's so many strong opinions, you know, a lot gets lost in there and it becomes very muddy. So again, I've had this conversation before online, and, you know, even from people who have experienced this and didn't appreciate it, you know, where the opinions are sometimes scary. But I'm also learning that a lot of us are shaped by our experiences, our own prejudice, where we've been in life, and it comes into the way we have conversations about certain things. But the first thing I would like to say is, so what I'm going to do is try and list all the reasons why people have been against allowing students to wear their natural hairstyles in schools, and give you my counterpoints. And hopefully we can all learn something or learn from each other. I'm always willing to listen to what, you know, the other party has to say. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is rules and regulations. A lot of people in most of their arguments have been very strong on, you know, rules and regulations. You know, there are rules and regulations of every society, of every institution, you know, rules and regulations. And, you know, if you're not willing to follow these rules, you should not. That's just the way it is. But I'd like you to understand that rules and regulations were not created by God. They're written by man. And if something is written by man, it is subject to change and is subject to be challenged. Human beings continue to evolve. And as we evolve, our rules, regulations, everything should suit the times that we are in. Right? So we need to move away from that idea that if something is a law, it is set in stone and it cannot be changed or it cannot be challenged, because it can. Because if you look at the history of man, we have come a long way. Once upon a time, women could not vote, and there were rules to justify why women should not vote. We are allowed to vote because people challenged these rules. At that point, the people who made these rules believed that it was reasonable and it made sense. And it may have. I don't know. I was not there. But people challenged it because as we were evolving, it no longer made any sense. Once upon a time, Black people were not allowed to share the same toilet, restaurants, or buses with white people. It took people fighting for inclusion. And even at that, we continue to fight. Do you understand? And at that point, there were rules, regulations, laws that justified all of this. So you cannot come and tell me that just because something is a law or it is a rule, it is so set in stone that it cannot be challenged, especially as we evolve as human beings. If we were not allowed to challenge these things, we wouldn't be where we are. And to people who say, well, when does it end? If you allow one person another person will come. I don't know. It will not end in our lifetime because we continue to evolve. I was telling a friend of mine how many years ago, spaghetti, I remember when spaghetti strap came and it was so scandalous. And everybody was making so much noise about it. Now it's like, what's the big deal? There are people who say, you know, well, it doesn't mean it is right. Look, people will continue to challenge rules, regulations. They will win some, they will lose some. Right now in some schools, there are people who are challenging, why should we wear uniforms? As ridiculous as it may sound to you, if people are able to present reasonable arguments and whatever they do does not hurt or interfere with who they are and other people, it can be challenged. Do you get what I mean? So at some point, someone probably came up with this and thought it was a brilliant idea. And it probably solved a problem. But if it no longer solves anything, and if anything, it hinders progress, productivity, then it must be looked at. So on the rules and regulation, I feel like I've said it so many times now, it is subject to change and it will not stop in our time because we continue to evolve and change. You know, we're at some point in our life, people argued that the earth was flat. And if you believe that the earth was round, there was something very wrong with you. But we have evolved to the point where now when you say the world is flat, everybody's going to look at you like you're crazy. Do you get me? So rules do change. The question too is why? In all of these arguments, there's been a lot of, I've not had enough justification as to why this is important. Why it is important for people to wear their hair a certain way, especially in schools. A couple of years ago when I posted a video about this subject, a lot of people came in the comments to talk about one, hair, getting especially girls to wear their hair a certain way in school costs money. It made them look too grown, and when they looked too grown, they became too attractive. It distracted their books and all of these things. None of these arguments make any sense. One, hair is part of your hygiene. Hair care is part of, just as you know how to bath and brush your teeth, right? Caring for your hair is an equal part of good hygiene. Whenever we talk about hairstyle, people are so fixated in weave on, rasta, you know, all the fancy hairstyles. When they are just pony, just twisting your hair, just braiding with, you know, the African thread. Do you get me? It is not about wearing fancy hairstyles. You should know how to care for your hair on your own. Because once upon a time, there were not even salons, right? But a lot of people are not even taught basic hair care as part of personal hygiene. And that's why, and I have nothing wrong with weaves or braids or anything, but for some people, when they wear their hair even in protective style, they don't even know how to care for it. It smells. They don't know they have to shampoo it because they've not been taught personal hygiene. Now, people say it's very distracting. I mean, even though it's the first time, I learned how to twist my own hair. I learned how to, because it's a part of who I am. Same way I shave my armpits, same way I bath, same way I brush my teeth. It's part of my hygiene. So if you go to even South African schools and other schools, my niece is in secondary school right here in Ghana. Her school, she's allowed to keep her hair. And I was just asking her, like, what do you do? She said, oh, she just braids her hair. And she's able to wash it. But some of the girls know how to do hair. Please, let's not pretend that in boarding school, even with short hair, people say you don't have time for your books. That's where I know that a lot of you adults are dishonest. Because when I was in boarding school, The time I had to brush my hair and scarf my hair and leave it overnight. It is not what is preventing people from learning. So that argument is just so... And when you're having these conversations, you have to also understand something. For a lot of people, this self-hate has worked. So you are fighting people who are comfortable with... people, when people make jokes about Rastafarian, because again, the hair is seen as bazaar. But you go to South Africa and there are lawyers, there are doctors, there are all kinds of people with... Okay, I don't know about lawyer part, but there are all kinds of corporate working men and women with dreadlock. Just about 2 years ago, a Muslim woman was being prevented from... The Nigerian Bar Association refused to call her to the bar because of her hijab. She argued and won. People are going to win some, they are going to lose some. But the idea that we cannot challenge laws, it can be challenged. It can. Again, this is purely about choice. There are so many great examples of people who are winning with their natural hair. There's so many great examples of people who are Rastafarians. And all of these people contribute to our society. Your year of return, all the people that were coming in, all the people you were doing all of this with, they didn't necessarily follow your code of conduct. There's something really wrong somewhere. Because when you we've not found someone to go on the moon.
Lydia Forson yekotie no ebae no waka ensem bebre na yebesan so ato ankomo no so bie ma na kire se we asma ye wo no sometimes obabi o matim se ne hutwa na so se be adwuma ompa na se opa muwa edru baabi ntino se be ma bi ba na akwan ma on hwe ne physical looks de o hwa ne botum ti se botum mudu de a ene no watu edi na chi Afia Schwar ne ga kasa fa ho na wo bisa se ntia ma na moye sa de ne sebe unya sa comfort na opa ni wi a utwa wani hwe wukunu a na wanka so wani ji ana Afia Emrabium.
Let's just all be honest. So what me will baby na pretty woman. Or back or ne who fair. No what tram ne be obetro what junior be na junior ne di na chire chire oba ne su but because am I and I agree this oba fe would junior ni when you bought junior so I said or a character or a horror film. We greedy do we greedy masa wa sama ka che ECD fu no mada o na nu nkani amama so we greedy pa ma mo ho fe titi Ghana for the Nigeria for we greedy junior mame actually this is not my business. As you can see, it's 3:30 a.m. May come when me na makoda. I just want to find out. Those of you that married ugly men in the name of money. Unse woman we are sniper who chiro kwa worries Kenyan when you can crash home. So now that you have small money in your pocket, how do you see that husband of yours? Ono na ne babe woman. No ma be hunu na we are say I said those of you that married ugly men in the name of money. Now that you are comfortable, how do you see your husband? I dream now that in Jen, how do you see him? Mobewo and Gola many make that. Good night.
Okay, guys, and some we say and I'm a more social media trends. So GhPage TV open tade papa African print there. Edgy the seamstress or no and yes I want this nama and remember ding na or pam number no any 0241 313359. Mo find chame number no 0241 313359. Midi any abna good. Makram now.
Adafo me chetia mu nyina. Mo kai se me the magical pain reliever. Your friend no cramp pack e de bremo amanfo bebrajia tuma yusi yenkoti o madanse die no bi
na me koto dwe na ya me de tale so enu ano no manti ya oni biem
so ba besia pra na ya bra na waya se ya yawa edi kan park ita waya sa moja na ye adwoto ni nyina beye pre
esa be da sada ko ina kin samu ni da kaina ma na sai wani na yusu shi wallahi yana da kyau
zan ga yojojo o manye ma use no moyo no se no ye hu o manye ma use ehin wa wa ni che
grandpa e yusu ne hiami kola inga nye deke nye kra nye banye ba he ne nye yusu ehin pa
adofo we de masomu a cramp nwanwade pi say your neck pains, shoulder pains, waist pains, dislocations, arthritis de obehia eye cramp na she ni using ye simple de hia ni say obewai o waya na wo de afam oya oni nyina abedwane na mom kai oba wafa yefunu emfa cramp entare waya ase cramp na the magical pain reliever cramp na oya obi abedwane sa ejadie krato yi FBA ahwehwemu